Welcome. Come on in. We'll get started in just a minute here. Good to see everybody. What is today? Today is October 7th, 2022. So about right at 11 o'clock. I'm John Lee with St. Louis Real Estate Investors Association, and we welcome you. We have Miss Katharyn Davis here. Before we get started, I'd like to have Laura give a little announcement to get us started here. So, Laura.
Thanks, John. Welcome, everyone. I want to do just a little bit of housekeeping before we start. You're free to unmute yourself whenever it's your turn to speak, but be sure to be mindful of everyone else by muting yourself when others are speaking. You're welcome to put any contact information that you want to share in the chat. We're here to share deals, look for deals, and solutions with our real estate business. We are not your financial advisors. Any specific solutions and/or contractors, you're advised to do your own due diligence to your own satisfaction before you invest. The first Friday of each month is Ask the Attorney with Ms. Katharyn Davis, and our meetings are typically recorded, so only share what you want others to know. Thank you.
Thank you, Laura. Kathy, how are you today?
I'm good. I was just sharing my news with John and Lloyd and everyone prior to starting that my husband had a lung transplant on Wednesday. He's doing really well. It was a 10-hour surgery, but they have him up and walking today. Not very far, but he went about 100 feet. And he's doing really well. Like any of the, because lawyers, they have to give you like all these disclosures and tell you the possible bad things that could happen and everything. And none of those bad things happened. There doesn't appear to be any malpractice. So there you go. They are, he's at BJC. They're really just doing an amazing job. You know, the science of this is really incredible. And the various different things that they look at. I mean, I think there's literally probably 100 people working on his team to oversee various aspects. It's an amazing thing. So he'll be in the hospital for several more days. They had said 2 weeks initially, but I think it might be shorter now. And then he'll have, you know, a lot of rehab and stuff to do. But they woke him up last night and he got to breathe with his new lungs. And, you know, it's just amazing. Yeah, so I don't have a lot of new stuff for you today. I want to tell you something that I'm not sure if we talked about before, but I was at the Missouri Bar meeting in Springfield a couple of weeks ago, and they were very much promoting this as something that we all need to know. Starting next summer, Casenet, all of Casenet is going to be open to everyone. Still a few exceptions. Some things in divorce and family law and juvenile where there's children involved won't be available. And things can be given a higher security level. We've talked a little bit before about security levels and the fact that some courts will raise those. And it means that, you know, mining Casenet to see if your prospective tenant has been evicted before is not necessarily 100% accurate these days. So you still need to do more traditional methods of screening before you rent to someone or sell to them and take back a loan or, you know, extend any kind of credit. But it does mean that, for one thing, we would like to ask you all, if any of you are putting social security numbers of the tenants on your lease, please don't do that, because that will have to be redacted before it can be filed. And they've also told us some things about information about children that must be redacted. So I'm suggesting that everyone, if you put children on a lease, if you put like Susie age 7, Joey age 5, instead just put 2 minor children or, you know, that kind of thing. So you're not identifying the kids. They've told us that the court's going to be very strict about redacting children information. And we don't want to get in trouble inadvertently because we post a lease as an exhibit that has something like that in it. So just take care with things like that. You know, as always, call me or email me if you have any questions. And, you know, get ready to be able to look at even more nosy information about your neighbor on Casenet, because you'll be able to see, instead of just seeing the minute entries, which is like the titles of everything that's filed, apparently you're going to be able to click on those documents and see them. And you'll also be able to file stuff yourself. I would be cautious about this because filing is like diamonds. It's forever. And unless you can get a security level or something raised, once you put it on there, it's difficult, if not impossible, to yank it back. And you know, anything you file in court could have consequences. But it will be interesting for you to be able to see stuff as it's filed. You know, I have a lot of clients who watch Casenet and they're emailing me going, I saw something was filed on my case today. Can you tell me what it is? And, you know, I'm happy to answer, but sometimes they know before I do. I'm not always in a place where I can look at the document myself and give an answer. But now you'll be able to look at it. Then you'll be emailing me going, they filed this. What does it mean? And that's okay too. We'll answer you on that. I think I feel badly for the clerks at the courthouse because I think a lot of pro se defendants, you know, unrepresented tenants, you know, people that are being sued for their credit cards or whatever are going to be filing a lot of crazy stuff. And I feel sorry for the courts that the clerks that they have to process this and, you know, make sense of it and give it a minute entry name and, you know, that kind of thing. So it's interesting. They, I think the Supreme Court of Missouri did this because of the press pressing them about open records and, you know, cases that have a higher profile, but it's going to apply to everybody. So I think that's all I have that's new. We kind of know who the judges are we're getting in our divisions for next year, and we're happy with everybody, with all the judges we're going to be getting. You know that this is October already, and the courts generally are down for a few weeks at the end of the year. So people who want to get evictions on file and be reasonably certain that we can still get a court date, a trial if necessary, and execute this year should be getting stuff to us or to the lawyer, or if you file yourself, filing it yourself pretty quickly. Well, I think somebody put a question in the chat. Hang on, let me see what that is. Can a city inspector go on vacant property and write warning tickets on back of house? No trespassing on property. I think they have some authority to enter onto property. And I'm assuming that the question is they're writing a warning ticket on conditions in the back of the house. They're not actually writing the ticket on the back of the house. At first I read that wrong. But yeah, they probably can do that. If you have a problem with a city inspector or a city violation, call Chris Bosler at my office. He has a good relationship with the attorneys in housing court. They're all young people now. You know, all my guys have retired. And Chris can often, you know, make a few phone calls and get those things taken care of, or at least talk to you about the best way to handle it.
Hey, I had a question for you, Kathy.
Hey, Dwayne.
On this thing about what's going to be visible. Is it like if a person gets it on one of their cases, does it go to all of them, or is it a case-by-case basis?
Case by case.
Okay,
But,
that's good.
you know, you can search by name. So if somebody sees one case with you, they might search your name to see if there's other cases and then find things in a different case.
Sure, that's okay. I think that's cool.
Okay.
And because I'm not smart on that system, when I do one of them, I get everything on you. So
Yeah, well, that's a thing
you
about
go.
it is if you're searching for someone by name and you don't know the case number, you can sometimes get a lot of results. You can
Yep.
sometimes also get the message that says that name's too common. We're not searching that for you. You have to narrow it
Yeah.
down.
Yep, gotcha.
Yeah.
That sounds good to me.
Yeah, but I mean, I think it'll be interesting. I mean, I will tell you that I think that that it's good that people want to it's good that you use Casenet. It's good that people call me years after a judgment and want to try to pay it or settle it so they can get it satisfied, you know, to clean up their Casenet history. That's good for all of us, right? But I would say that this will let you see if they have satisfied it, you know, that it was paid, that you can see that satisfaction of judgment. It will also let you see what they were filing, or if they were really doing crazy stuff, or you know, if they have 441s, drug dealing evictions, or, you know, if they filed a lot of defensive pleadings that are frivolous, but they're very annoying and time consuming and expensive for the landlord to fight, you'll be able to see more things like that. I mean, just the average person who got behind in their rent once and got sued and then it got dismissed or they paid the judgment, you might want to give them another chance. I'm not going to tell your business, but you know, that might be kind of innocuous compared to some of the stuff we see. And I'm not sure until you're going to be able to see all those filings, how you can differentiate someone who lost their job and got behind for a couple of months between somebody who is a complete crazy person, countersues everybody, files all kinds of crazy pleadings, and is someone you definitely don't ever want to rent to, probably not even walk across the street with. So I'm hoping that, and I think for you guys who are, you know, more sophisticated, it's going to work out good for you. I'm a little worried about the average pro se defendant, that kind of thing, filing a lot of stuff or getting in there, finding stuff out. You should know that when we file suits for our clients, we do not put their address on there. We put our address as their address to try to protect you a little bit. So, and we do some other things too with the intake information, that we don't put your information in that system unless we absolutely have to. But that might not be true of everybody.
Hi, Kathy. I have a question.
Okay.
I had a eviction done a few weeks ago, and the tenant or the sheriff put the tenant out.
Uh-huh.
They did take all their things, but they left one of those large commercial lawnmowers in the garage. It's not new. You could tell they probably bought it used or something, but it's one of those larger commercial ones. Can I do what I want to with it, or what's the process of me getting rid of it?
Okay, so here's the law on that. It's good that you did a sheriff eviction, because once you do a sheriff eviction, you have some protection under the statute about disposing of any personal property the tenant leaves behind. The one exception is, according to the law, if it's something that is leased or has a lien on it or that kind of thing, like the big screen TV from Rent-A-Center, you know, and you can usually see stickers or whatever on there. With a big commercial lawnmower, would it be considered like a vehicle where it might be registered with the DMV or the DOR?
No.
The other thing is, it's possible that they borrowed money to buy it and that there's a lien on it from the lender. But if you want us to look into it, you could call us next week and we could look it up. But if it's not anything like that, or if you don't know that it's anything like that, you can dispose of it as you will. See if it has a VIN. That'll make a difference in what you have to do to trace it.
Okay, I would doubt it. It's one that they would just put up on a trailer to take it from place to
Okay.
place. And they had to mow the lawn themselves, so that's probably why they got it.
Nice.
But yeah, okay, I'll check and see though if it has.
Check to see it. If not, I think you could, take it or sell it on Craigslist or whatever you want to do.
Yeah. Or could I give them like one more chance to come and get it? If not,
That's a nice thing to do, but you
Yeah.
don't have to.
okay. All right, thank you.
Uh-huh. Yeah, there's something in the chat about the lien would be filed with the Uniform Commercial Code. And that is true unless it has a VIN. If it has a VIN, it might be filed with the Department of Revenue. And I'm pretty sure we have a program here that we can look those up too. But yeah, it's going to be one of those two things. And the Missouri Secretary of State would be the first place to check. I'm just thinking big commercial lawnmower. I'm wondering if they had a little lawn mowing company or, I don't know. There's a lot of permutations to that, but basically you're really protected by the statute since you had a sheriff's eviction. Anybody else got anything? Okay, guys, I'm going to put out some fires here and then go back to the hospital and see what tricks they're having my husband perform now. And I'm on the nurse's team, not his team. Yeah, make them walk.
Thank you, Kathy. We appreciate you as always, and the very
Yeah.
best to your husband too, and everything. So.
Okay.
thank you again.
And Chris and Christine will be here, next week if I'm not around as much. So don't hesitate to call us.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, thanks. Bye.